I was folding laundry in the living room when my 7-year-old son, Evan, asked if he could draw another birthday card. "Sure, buddy," I said, glancing up. "For who?" He tilted his head. "For Mommy. I want to make sure she has one when she comes back someday." I smiled sadly. Then, that very evening, someone knocked. I opened the door, and there she was. She looked straight at me and whispered, "Will he remember me?" Before we dive in, drop a comment with where you're watching from, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more videos like this. Let's begin. I hadn't seen her face in 7 years. Not since the day she left the hospital, holding nothing but silence in her heart. Her name? Emily Carson. She used to be my everything. We weren't divorced. We weren't even fighting. She just disappeared. After giving birth, I stood frozen in the doorway of our modest Idaho home. Evan's laughter rang from the back room, blissfully unaware of the woman who stood trembling on our porch. Her eyes were sunken, her frame thinner, her long brunette hair pulled into a nervous ponytail. But it was her. I would have known those eyes anywhere. "Logan," she whispered, "can I come in?" I didn't respond right away. Not because I was cruel, but because I was afraid. Afraid that letting her back in might tear apart the world I'd built from ruins. I just want to see him," she said. "Please." "Why now?" It came out sharper than I meant it to. She flinched. "I've been in treatment. Therapy. Rehab. Everything. I wasn't okay. But I am now." I stared into her eyes. No lies. No rehearsed speech. Only trembling truth. Evan's footsteps thudded down the hallway. And then, his voice. "Dad, who's at the door?" Emily's breath hitched. I turned slightly, shielding her with my body. "He's not ready," I muttered. Her hand lifted, hesitant. "I just want to see him." Even from afar. I could have shut the door. But then, I remembered the boy in the living room who never stopped drawing cards for a mother he couldn't even picture. I stepped aside. "You have 10 minutes, I said. Not because she deserved so little, but because I didn't know what she deserved yet. She stepped inside the home filled with Lego bricks and crayon stains, and for a second, I thought I saw something in her break. Or maybe something heal. The moment Emily stepped inside, the air changed. Like ghosts had followed her in. She paused by the entryway, glancing around the small living room filled with warmth, and traces of Evan in every corner. Drawings taped crookedly to the fridge. A toy police car stuck under the sofa. An old blanket she used to love, now Evan's favorite. She reached for it, then stopped. "I used to curl up in this when it rained," she murmured. I watched her carefully. Part of me wanted to tell her to stop pretending this was still her home. The other part, the tired, lonely part, just wanted someone else to remember the storms we survived. "Dad, are we going to?" Evan froze in the hallway. Emily looked up. Their eyes met. Evan blinked, then squinted, and I saw it. Confusion, curiosity, recognition, maybe, or maybe just a feeling, a pull. She said softly, as if the sound might break him. Evan looked at me, then back at her. "Are you my mom?" I couldn't breathe. Emily's hands trembled. "Yes, sweetheart. I'm your mom." There was a pause so long it hurt. Then, Evan nodded, slowly. "Okay. Just that. Okay." Then he walked over and hugged her, not with full trust, not with understanding, but with something better. Innocent kindness. The kind that still believed in second chances. Emily crumbled. She dropped to her knees and held him like time had folded in on itself. She didn't cry loudly. She just shook, silently, like someone drowning in memories. I looked away, because for 7 years, I'd carried every scraped knee, every flu, every bedtime story. I'd whispered, "Mom loves you," into his ear, even when I wasn't sure she ever would again. And here she was, getting to feel it all. When I turned back, Evan was showing her his favorite drawing. "It's me and you and Dad. And that's my dog, Ranger. He died." Emily brushed a tear from her cheek. "I would have loved him." I cleared my throat. "That's 10 minutes. She stood, reluctant. "Logan, please, just a little more." But I shook my head, because I had rebuilt myself one brick at a time, and I didn't know if I could watch her touch what I built without shaking the foundation. Outside, the sky was turning orange with evening light. She stepped back onto the porch. "I'm staying at the shelter on Birch. Just for a few days. I'm not here to take him. I just want to be near." I didn't respond, but I didn't shut the door either. She turned, walked down the steps, and disappeared into the quiet street. Evan sat on the couch holding the blanket. Dad. Yeah, bud. She smells like the candles you used to light when I was little. I smiled faintly. I know. He leaned against me. Can she come back tomorrow? I hesitated, then nodded. Maybe. And somewhere deep down, I knew this wasn't over. This was just the beginning of a storm I didn't see coming. The next morning, the world looked the same. But I didn't. I woke up heavier, not from regret, but from the weight of uncertainty. Evan was already up, making 2 bowls of cereal. He'd poured one for himself, and one for her. She said she's at the shelter, he told me casually. Can we go? I wanted to say no. I wanted to say, let's wait. Let's make sure she doesn't vanish again. But Evan's eyes were so sure, so hopeful, and it wasn't the kind of hope you could shatter twice. So we drove. The shelter on Birch sat beside an old laundromat and a row of shuttered diners. Cold cement, rusted benches, a pale blue sign with peeling paint. We stepped inside. The lady at the desk, a nurse-looking woman with half-moon glasses, asked, "You here for Emily Carson?" I nodded. She smiled. "Second floor, room 207. She's been sitting by the window all morning. Said she was waiting for a miracle." Evan's hand squeezed mine. We walked up together. Room 207's door was cracked open. Emily was sitting cross-legged on the twin bed, journal in her lap, eyes on the window. When she saw Evan, she lit up. He walked in first. She didn't rush, didn't smother. She just opened her arms gently. Evan leaned into her. I stood in the doorway, watching, not ready to enter, not ready to believe. Emily looked at me. "Thank you," she mouthed. And somehow, the bitterness I expected didn't come. She'd been a stranger yesterday, but now she was a ghost remembering how to breathe. "I didn't expect you to actually come," she said after a while. "I didn't either," I replied. She motioned toward the chair across from her. I hesitated, then sat. Evan was coloring in her journal. Quiet, focused. Emily exhaled. "Do you want to know why I left?" I didn't answer, but my silence was enough. "I had postpartum psychosis," she said, voice low. "It wasn't just sadness. It was voices, hallucinations, panic. I thought Evan would be better off without me. Safer." I clenched my jaw. I'd spent nights hating her, thinking she chose freedom, thinking she abandoned us. But hearing her now, hearing the why, I wasn't ready for the weight of that truth. "I checked into a hospital the next day," she continued. "Voluntarily. I stayed. I did the work. For years. And when I was finally released, I thought of you both every day. Every single day." She reached into her bag and pulled out dozens of folded letters. All addressed to me. All returned unopened. I wrote. "You never answered." I swallowed the knot in my throat. I didn't want you near him. I didn't want you to confuse him. He was so little. I didn't know if you'd survive. Emily nodded, no anger in her eyes. "You did what you thought was right." I respect that. The kindness in her tone was disarming. Not desperate, not demanding, just kind. Evan looked up. "Mom, do you like pancakes?" She blinked, then smiled. "I love pancakes. We should go get some." Emily looked at me. "I could take a cab, if that's okay." I stood slowly. "You can ride with us." That morning, we ate at a dusty diner Evan loved, Betty's Place, where the booze creaked and syrup came in jars. And for the first time in 7 years, I saw him laugh between both his parents. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't easy, but it was real. And in that imperfect, fragile moment, I saw a new kind of beginning. One that wasn't about forgetting the pain, but about choosing something better despite it. Emily started joining us for small things. Pancakes, walks, a quick visit to Evan's school pickup line where she stood back, watching from a distance, tears building behind her smile. But I wasn't stupid. Kindness didn't erase the years. Forgiveness wasn't automatic. And trust had to be rebuilt nail by nail, inch by inch. One Friday evening, she asked if she could attend Evan's school art fair. Just to see his drawings, she said. Nothing more. I didn't say yes, but I didn't say no either. So she showed up, wearing a navy sweater, jeans, and the exact same nervous look from our college days. Back when she used to run late to every class, but always carried an extra sandwich in case I forgot mine. Evan ran to her when he saw her. He tugged her hand, dragging her past the noisy crowd of parents and half-baked art projects toward his own. "This is my mom," he announced. "She's back." Every head turned. Some stared. Some smiled. One didn't. Mrs. Landon, our neighbor. A woman who'd seen me holding Evan's tiny body wrapped in a hospital blanket with no mother beside him. She stormed over, lips pursed. "Logan." I thought she was gone. Emily tried to remain calm, but I could see her body tighten, fingers curling. "She's his mother," I said simply. Mrs. Landon scoffed. "A mother doesn't leave." Emily stepped forward. Softly. Clearly. "I didn't leave because I wanted to. I left because I was sick. I came back because I got better." Mrs. Landon narrowed her eyes. "Well, some people clean up messes. Others just come back to admire the work." Emily didn't react. She didn't argue. She bent down instead. "Evan, want to show me your painting again?" And just like that, she walked through the storm with her head up. Later that night, I found her sitting alone outside the shelter again, staring at the parking lot lights like they held answers. "You didn't have to take that," I told her. She shrugged. "I've heard worse. I've told myself worse." I sat beside her. For a long moment, we just watched people come and go. Then she asked me the question I'd been dreading. "Do you think I deserve another chance?" I didn't answer right away, because forgiveness wasn't a door you just unlocked and walked through. It was a hallway. Dark, narrow, winding, and I was still halfway in. "I don't know," I admitted, "but Evan deserves a chance to know his mom. So maybe we start with that." She nodded, eyes glistening. "Tomorrow's Saturday," she whispered. "Think he'd want to go to the zoo?" "Only if you're ready." She chuckled, wiping a tear. "I'm not, but I'll go anyway." That weekend, something happened. Something small, something massive. We took Evan to the zoo. He held both our hands. The whole time, and for the first time in years. It didn't feel like I was carrying the weight alone. Until Sunday night. We were getting ready for dinner. Emily had stayed a little longer. She was helping Evan with a school project when a knock came at the door. I opened it. A man stood there. Late 30s. Sharp suit. Arrogant smile. "Logan Moore?" he asked. I nodded. He handed me an envelope. "You've been served." I stared at the paper. Custody petition. Filed by Emily Carson. I looked back inside the house. Emily was helping Evan glue paper stars on a cardboard. She didn't even know. Because that man wasn't sent by her. He was sent by someone else. From her past. From the part she hadn't told me yet. The part that would tear this whole thing apart. I didn't sleep that night. The custody petition sat on my kitchen counter. Heavy as a brick. Louder than thunder. But it wasn't signed by Emily. It was filed on her behalf by a man named Trevor Locke. An attorney. A name I didn't know. But something told me she did. The next morning, I dropped Evan off at school early. Then drove to the shelter. She was outside again, clutching a coffee cup like it was a lifeline. When I walked up, I didn't speak right away. She looked up and knew. "What happened?" she asked. I dropped the papers in her lap. She read them. Her hand flew to her mouth. "No, Logan, I didn't do this. I swear. I never asked for custody. I wouldn't. You have to believe me." Trevor Locke. Her face turned white. And just like that, her body gave out. She sank to the ground like her bones had forgotten how to hold her. "He found me," she whispered. "Who?" She looked up. Her voice cracked. "My father." I blinked. "What?" "My dad. Charles Locke. The reason I never talked about my past. The reason I never used his name. He's the kind of man who hides monsters in polished shoes." I stood frozen. "He's a judge," she continued. "Retired now. Rich. Influential. The type who thinks children are trophies and shame is contagious. When I had Evan, he cut me off. Told me if I ever got better, he would fix things. That he'd help me get my life back, but only if I followed his rules." She choked back tears. "I didn't ask him to file this. I never wanted custody like this. I only wanted to be allowed in his life, not to rip him away from you." I paced. My mind was racing. "So your father just filed for full custody of my son?" "Our son," she corrected, then stood. "But he's doing it because of me. To control me." Again, my fist clenched. Every muscle in my body screamed protect. Not just Evan, but her. "He wants to raise Evan with me," she added quietly. "But not you. He sees you as beneath us." I laughed bitterly. "Right. A single dad with paint under his nails and a cheap house." She looked down, then looked up again, with something fierce in her eyes. I told him no. Last night, after I found out, he said I was too emotional, too naive, that children need structure and legacy, that he could have a judge sign off on everything by the end of the month. "So what now?" I asked, voice shaking. She stepped closer. "I fight him. With you. If you'll let me. The weeks that followed felt like war. Emily moved out of the shelter and into a small apartment nearby. She got a job waiting tables and started therapy sessions 3 times a week, publicly, openly. I kept custody, but we met with lawyers together. When Charles Locke showed up to court, slicked back hair, $1,000 suit, fake smile, I saw everything she described. Control, power, arrogance. He didn't care about Evan. He cared about the narrative. A judge's daughter, a broken family scandal, a child raised by a construction worker. But Emily stood in front of the judge, in front of her father, and the world, and she told the truth about her mental illness, about her years of recovery, about the pain of disappearing and the terror of returning, about me, about the man who raised Evan with bedtime stories and peanut butter sandwiches and nightlight talks when monsters felt real. I left, yes, she told the judge, but I didn't abandon. I protected, and now I want to return, not to take anything, but to earn it back. Then she turned to Charles. And if you think power means taking something from a boy who already has a father who loves him, then you never understood family. The courtroom was dead silent. The judge ruled against Charles Locke. Evan stayed with me. Emily was granted structured visitation, leading to joint custody over time, pending continued therapy and stability. But none of that mattered in the moment, because when we walked out of that courtroom, Emily collapsed in my arms. She didn't cry for herself. She cried for every version of herself she'd left behind. 6 months later, it was Evan's birthday, a small gathering in the backyard, a plastic slide, cupcakes, and string lights that blinked in the breeze. Emily baked the cake. I grilled the burgers. We didn't kiss. We didn't even hold hands. But when the candles were lit, Evan made a wish. Then he turned to us and said, I don't need a wish. I already got what I wanted. Both of you. That night, after he went to bed, we sat on the back porch together. Emily looked at me. I may never undo the past, but if you let me, I'll keep showing up. I didn't say anything. I just reached for her hand, because forgiveness doesn't shout. It whispers. It builds. It returns, one day at a time. And sometimes, just sometimes, it knocks.